Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Shockwave Radio 7. I'm your host Ahmed Al-Basiri, and boy, you're in for a treat. Now, let's get on with the first topic of today. Now, since Group A are having their card signing this Friday, I've gathered some tips I hope you'll find helpful. Now, I gathered these tips from reliable sources whose names shall be unknown for security purposes. So, let's do it. Tip number 1. When asked an open question, such as talk about the abdominal walls, do not stop talking until you're told to do so. Do not give the instructor a chance to ask you another question, because they are more likely to ask you in-depth questions and then you'll find it difficult, probably. Now, tip number 2. If you really don't know the answer, i.e. you have absolutely zero clue, then tell your instructor that you do not know. It's your time here we're talking about, so use your time wisely. Tip number 3. Pay close attention to palpations, surface anatomy, blood and nerve supplies, dermatomes, and also segmental values. Tip number 4. Histology and embryology are parts of the card signing. Do not forget those. You will likely encounter such questions when you are doing well. So, if you're asked these questions, then boy, you're good. Tip number 5. Check the ABC classification at the end of your blue book. It's extremely helpful, and trust me, it will make you feel in control of your learning. Tip number 6. Make sure to answer the questions of each practical. You might want to answer them after your practical or probably a study group later in the library. Group study in the study rooms and anatomy room. It's always fun when you're with your friends. Now, this should not turn into a chit-chat group. There's a time and place for that. Get together with friends who are committed and have similar studying style to you. 4 to 5 people max. Tip number 8. Let your friends ask you on the spot. So you get used to that rush of adrenaline, the sweaty hands and dry mouth, So when the time comes, you'll be less intimidated. Tip number 9. Take a look at the x-rays in the anatomy room or check netanatomy.net, and the link is found on Moodle. And finally, tip number 10. Sleep well before the card signing. Remember, the sole purpose of the card signing's existence is to keep you on top of the material. That's it. And also to get you to a level where you're comfortable. When the instructors ask you questions, you're comfortable and you can answer them. And at the end of the day, don't be upset if you get a B, okay? I'd rather get a C and learn something from it than getting an A and learning nothing. So, that's it for this week's podcast. I wish both groups a big fat A in the card signings with a new piece of information learned. Make sure to tune in for next week's podcast. So, mark your calendars. 19th November is the date. Shockwave Radio 7 is the place. Until then, peace out.